both Presidents Biden and Trump have used it as a pretextual basis to prevent people from entering the US.
Immigration rights advocates in New York closely watching for possible developments out of Washington, D.C. As February begins, the Supreme Court is expected to make a decision on whether to end Title 42 or keep it for longer.
This is inconsistent with US law and with our international obligations. There are real crises enveloping some of the countries in this region, and that folks are going to respond to those crises by, seeking safety.
The Trump-era measure has been in place because of COVID-19. It basically overrides the immigration law that allows people to seek asylum after they already entered the United States on the grounds of a public health emergency. The Department of Homeland Security has released a list of steps it will take should Title 42 come to an end. That includes establishing a new parole process for asylum seekers, following the model already used for Venezuelans and Ukrainians.
Title 42 is not a solution. It is part of the problem.
Meanwhile, Senate and House Democrats are making their case on Capitol Hill. They say Title 42 makes the migration crisis even more challenging,
including kidnappings, serious assaults, and deaths against individuals who were expelled due to Title 42.
They literally have to hide themselves to avoid sexual violence, robbery.
On the other side of the aisle, Republicans want to keep current restrictions.
There should be agreement that we're going to fund Title 42.
After his trip to Texas in January, President Joe Biden announced he would allow as many as 30,000 migrants per month into the United States from Venezuela, Haiti, Cuba, and Nicaragua.
This is nothing but for show unless it begins to enforce the immigration laws.
Still, many of the asylum seekers ended up being bussed to other parts of the country. New York has received more than 40,000 migrants since last spring. Many stay in shelters provided by the city. And it all comes with a price tag. The Adams administration says this will cost nearly $2 billion in public funding. But advocates disagree.
Mayor Eric Adams has continued to scapegoat immigrants for his own failure to resolve New York City's shelter crisis. If New York City is experiencing a crisis, it's a crisis of affordability and a crisis related to the shelter system. It's not a migrant crisis.
Mayor Eric Adams has faced criticism from advocacy groups who say he's not providing enough funds for asylum seekers in his preliminary budget announced during the State of the City address. The mayor has consistently called on the federal government for help, saying that this crisis is a national problem. The Supreme Court is expected to decide on the future of Title 42 at some point in February. In the newsroom, Giovanni Diaz, Pix 11 News.